So we're here at Fashion Week 2014, and I'm here with designer Cristina Gabriele. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well indeed.
What an amazing show you put on today. The models look fabulous. The designs look amazing. Tell us a little bit about what went into designing.
Well, you know, every collection is a new experience. This actually is a continuation from a collection. My first is called the Cable Tie Collection, which is inspired by the cable tie as a unit, and it's speaking to finding beauty in the everyday that surrounds us in industrial designs or beautifully designed objects that perhaps we don't usually perceive to be beautiful. And this is a continuation of that. I wanted to experiment with different materials. These are acrylic laser cut units, and I also make sterling silver and gold-plated jewelry as well. So this was kind of a shake-up to the collection to add some color and experiment with a new material.
Let's talk about the color a little bit.
Well, you know what, so it's for fall. As a jeweler, you don't necessarily have to be bound to seasonality, which gives you a little bit of free range to play around. I originally was going for a kind of very delicate, more of a muted palette, lots of seafoam greens, lots of beiges, and then I felt that was very beautiful, but I'm quite a bright person and needed to introduce some color, the contrast of this kind of seafoam green and sort of bone color, and then something emeraldy, more kind of speaking to jewel tones.
About art, talk to me about when you see fashion and you start to work on your designs. Tell us what inspires your artistic side of designing.
Well, I think I would say it's unusual. As a jeweler, I'm very rarely inspired by jewelry. I'm inspired by everything else, a lot by music, a lot by modern paintings, art, things like this. But I think really, if you are artistically inclined or imaginative, you will find something inspiring everywhere, especially in a city like New York.
And what's most important to you when you're designing? You know, what do you think about when you're creating and you're in your space?
I'm very kind of tactile, tangible person, so I will have a concept in my head, and for me it's definitely about playing with physical objects. If it's going to sort of, even, what do you say, like, to a paint store, to a place where you might find bolts and findings, to, I don't know, screw a door together, kind of finding beauty in irregular things and not thinking of jewelry as jewelry means using these metals in this way, in a formal way, and kind of going with a bigger kind of balloon concept and then trickling down and feeling the inspiration and then making the reasonable connections to have a strong concept to be able to express yourself well.
Your jewelry pieces, yes. Obviously your design work has a lot of different shapes to it. What inspires those shapes?
Well, the thing is, so I've been working with this. This is my unit. I call it my cable tie unit, which is this kind of very traditional pear-shaped shape. And that's quite a traditional jewelry shape, and even this unit by itself is very, very intricate, and I love the idea of putting shapes within shapes. So you have this very delicate unit in something that's very hard and angular, and I kind of like the idea of something hard and something soft, mixing romance with angularity. And I think it was interesting to use this kind of two-dimensional version of this material, because you find arrangements that you wouldn't be able to in certain materials. For example, if you were to do that out of silver or gold, it would be a very different process, a very different feel. It wouldn't drape in the way that you'd want it to, all of these kind of things. So I think that a lot of the material will not dictate, but will inspire me to select certain designs, certain shapes.
So tell us about retailers. As you're looking for buyers and you're looking to get into some of the department stores, what are some of those strategies that you're working on to get there and to promote your line?
I think there's so many steps that you have to take in order to really get that right. You might be fortunate enough that someone really falls in love with your designs. Obviously, that's the kind of ideal scenario. But some people are open to collaborations. They could say, listen, we love you're a great designer in our mind, but you're a little bit out of our budget, or you're a great designer, but we rather experiment with other materials. I think the personal relation to any of those exchanges is the most important part. You need to, hopefully they're believing in you as an artist, and obviously they need to be profitable because of your art, etc. But I think the human element is very important. Largely people, I think, invest in you if they're in some way moved or touched by your art. Hopefully that's the purpose of what you're doing. And yes, some of them are maybe more formal, but it takes a lot of work to gain exposure as an artist and make the right placements and be, accepted by the places you'd like to be accepted. It's a long progress.
Tell us where we could find your garments and some of your beautiful designs.
Yeah, so actually these dresses I made because of the jewelry. I am a jeweler, and these garments were made for the show specifically. And I think they're actually really fun. I think I'm going to wear these also. But my jewelry, I came from London. I'm a London-based designer who's recently moved to New York City, so I'm Heart & Noble London and Heart & Noble New York. I'm currently selling on Dover Street in London at Wolf & Badger, and I've just moved and become an entity in New York, so I'm now looking to place myself in retail positions here, but I am an Incubator member of Manufacture New York, and so I'm part of the showroom and a few events coming up, this Fashion Week.
Very exciting. Yeah.
Exciting time.
Here you have it, Cristina Gabriele, who's not only just full of amazing design and talent, but she's also inspired by love. Yes.
Heart and noble. Yes, please do check
Well,
us out.
thank you so much.
Thank you so
And
much.
please tell our viewers where they could find your information.
Absolutely. It's Heart and Noble, www.heartandnoble.com. That's HEARTANDNOBLE.com. It would be a pleasure.